Today, we're counting down the 5 strongest hunters in solo leveling. The elite of the elite, the national level hunters, who are basically walking nations. You might be thinking, only 5? Why not a top 10? Great question. In solo leveling, there's a clear-cut group of 5 hunters who stand head and shoulders above the rest. These aren't just your average S-rank hunters. Oh no, they're national level hunters, so powerful they're compared to entire countries. These are the kings and queens of their own domain. Ungovernable and unstoppable. But who are they? How did they get this crazy power? And, most importantly, who punches the hardest? We're answering all that and more. So let's get into it. But how this list came to be. The solo leveling manhwa makes it super easy for us with something called hunter points. Think of them as gold stars handed out to hunters based on their feats. It's not a perfect 1v1 power scale, but it's the author's way of saying, these guys are the top dogs. And since 2 of these hunters have barely any feats to their name, sticking to the official ranking is the way to go. Fun fact, by chapter 148 of the 200-chapter manhwa, Jinwoo's feats would already put him at 3rd or 4th place if fully calculated, and he keeps racking up points after that. So, yeah, he's on this list, national level title or not. Let's dive into the countdown. At number 5 is Siddharth Bachchan, the strongest hunter in all of India. Now, we never see this dude's face or even get a glimpse of India in the manhwa, but don't sleep on him. Siddharth is a vessel for a ruler, one of the angelic godlike beings in the solo leveling universe. Quick lore dump for the newbies. The universe has 2 god races, rulers and monarchs. Rulers are the good angelic types, while monarchs are the bad demonic crew, created to brawl for eternity for a divine creator's entertainment. Most national level hunters, except Jinwoo kinda, are vessels for rulers, which gives them 2 insane powers. Spiritual body manifestation, where they transform into a diluted version of a ruler, and ruler's authority, which is just fancy telekinesis for yeeting daggers, lifting people, or creating gravity wells. Siddharth's got both these powers, meaning he's packing god-tier strength. We don't know much else about him, but his status as a ruler's vessel puts him in the big leagues. So, why was he chosen to be a vessel? Let's take it back to the first ever S-rank gate, which popped off on the west coast of America 10 years ago. The world wasn't ready for S-rank gates, and a dragon named Kamish broke free, going on a rampage and wiping out hundreds of S-rank hunters. 5 hunters banded together to take down Kamish, and as a reward for slaying the strongest magical beast ever, they were granted national level status and ruler powers. Siddharth was one of those 5, making him a certified walking W. That's all we've got on him. But trust, he's a beast. Sliding in at number 4 is Christopher Reed, America's 3rd strongest hunter, and a cocky powerhouse who thinks no one on Earth can touch him. This dude's a national level hunter, which means he's in a league so elite, he's basically a one-man nation. Like most of the top dogs in solo leveling, Christopher is a vessel for a ruler, one of the angelic, godlike beings created to brawl with their demonic counterparts, the monarchs, for a divine creator's entertainment. Being a ruler's vessel gives him 2 insane abilities. Spiritual body manifestation, which lets him transform into a diluted version of a ruler, and ruler's authority, a fancy term for telekinesis that can yeet daggers, lift enemies, or create gravity wells to mess up anyone in his path. So, what's Christopher's deal? Picture this. When he activates his spiritual body manifestation, he morphs into a towering one-eyed beast wreathed in flames so intense, it took 14 S-rank hunters to put them out. That's a big flex when you realize there are only 31 S-rank hunters left on Earth. His fire is no joke. It's like he's channeling a volcano, and the fact that nearly half the world's S-rank hunters had to team up just to douse it speaks volumes about his raw power. But how did he get to this level? Rewind 10 years to the first ever S-rank gate, which popped off on America's west coast. The world wasn't ready, and a dragon named Kamish went full Godzilla, wiping out hundreds of S-rank hunters. Christopher was one of the 5 hunters who banded together to take Kamish down, earning him national level status and the ruler's blessing. That's the origin story of a legend. Now, here's the kicker, and spoiler alert for the anime-only crew. Skip a few seconds if you're staying pure. Christopher's not a major player in the manhwa. We meet him, get hyped about his power, and then he gets clapped off screen. Yeah, it's a bummer. 3 monarchs, god-tier baddies who make S-rank hunters look like rookies, roll up to his house and jump him. Fighting one monarch is a nightmare. The fact that it took 3 to take Christopher out suggests he was no slouch. Maybe he was even stronger than his number 4 ranking implies, especially since he's cocky enough to call Thomas Andre the number 1 ranked hunter, a weakly. But without on-screen feats, and with an off-screen exit, we can't give him too much credit. Still, the dude's a fiery phenom who went out swinging against impossible odds. Respect. Moving up to number 3, we've got Liu Zhigang, China's strongest hunter, and a guy who lives for the thrill of battle. This dude's got the heart of a warrior and the skills to back it up, making him one of the most exciting national-level hunters to watch. Like Christopher, Liu's a ruler's vessel, packing spiritual body manifestation and ruler's authority. But unlike our last entry, Liu's got feats that make your jaw drop, and he's humble enough to admit when someone expect Jinwu is stronger. That mix of raw power and chill vibes makes him a fan favorite. Let's talk about why Liu's a beast. Picture this. After the Jeju Island arc, when S-rank ants, each one a nightmare strong enough to give top hunters trouble, try invading China's mainland, Liu steps up. With one swing of his sword, he unleashes an energy blast that wipes out hundreds of these ants and obliterates an entire coastline. One swing, fam. That's not just strength. That's main character energy without being the main character. But wait, there's more. Later, when a monarch-controlled giant, one of the strongest creatures in the solo-leveling universe, escapes Japan and heads for China, Liu doesn't even let it touch the mainland. He decapitates it with a single strike before it can react. And here's the kicker. He did it without using his spiritual body manifestation. That's right, he's out here one-shotting monarch-level threats in his base form. Liu's part of the Kamish-slaying crew, which earned him his national-level status and ruler powers. His blade work is so precise and powerful that he's basically a human nuke, and his ability to generate energy blasts makes him a long-range threat too. But what sets Liu apart is his mindset. He's battle-hungry, always itching to test his strength against the toughest foes, like the Ant King from Jeju Island. Yet, when he meets Jinwu, he's quick to admit, yeah, that guy's on another level. That humility paired with his insane feats makes Liu a standout. If you're wondering how hard he punches, let's just say his sword swings hit like a meteor shower. China's lucky to have this guy guarding the gates. At number 2, we've got Thomas Andre, America's strongest hunter and, for most of the manhwa, considered the strongest man on Earth. This dude's a walking legend, the kind of guy who looks like he could arm wrestle a kaiju and win. Like the others, Thomas is a ruler's vessel, rocking spiritual body manifestation and ruler's authority. But he takes it to another level with his signature move, Capture, which supercharges his telekinesis to create black holes. Yeah, you heard that right. This man's out here bending physics like it's his day job. Thomas's origin story is wild. He was one of the 5 hunters who took down Kamish, but here's the crazy part. During that fight, Kamish, the strongest magical beast ever, bit him with its sharpest tooth. Thomas didn't just survive. He kept the tooth as a souvenir and later had it forged into a set of daggers that he gifted to Jinwu. That's the kind of flex that says, I'm built different. His power isn't just physical though. Thomas's capture technique is so strong that even Jinwu, whose attack power is estimated at planet level or higher, says he'd be trapped without his own ruler's authority. That's right, Thomas's telekinesis can pin down a guy who could probably punch the moon out of orbit. Thomas has gone toe-to-toe with monarchs twice and walked away both times. First, he faced Raken, a monarch so powerful most hunters wouldn't last a second. Thomas not only held his own, but forced Raken to bust out his own spiritual body manifestation to keep up. That's like making a god sweat. In the final arc, Thomas battles Tarak, the king of monstrous humanoids, with some backup. But even then, surviving a monarch fight is a big deal. In his clash with Jinwu at the International Guild Conference, Thomas went all out, sending Jinwu crashing through buildings and leveling city blocks with just the air pressure from his attacks. Even after Jinwu broke his arm, Thomas kept fighting like it was a Tuesday. This man's durability, strength, and telekinetic black hole game make him a force of nature. But Thomas isn't just about raw power. He's got heart. After Jinwu spares his life, more on that later, Thomas becomes his ride or die, proving there's more to him than just being a brawler. If you're wondering how hard he punches, let's just say his fists hit like a collapsing star, and his telekinesis could probably yeet a planet. Thomas Andre is the real deal, but he's still not number 1. 1. Sung Jinwu, the one-man army. Did you really think anyone else could claim the top spot? Sung Jinwu, the solo-leveling king, is number 1. And it's not even close. The only hunter who can level up in a world where everyone else is stuck. Jinwu's power is so unfair, it's basically a plot device. He's not not just a national level hunter. He's a walking apocalypse, a one-man army who rewrites the rules of the solo leveling universe. While he's technically not a ruler's vessel, though he's got some weird connections we won't spoil here, his strength puts him above everyone else on this list. Jinwoo's feats are straight up ridiculous. He beat an S-rank hunter to death with his bare hands, then took on Thomas Andre at full power, broke his arm, and sent him to the hospital without even trying. When Thomas asked why Jinwoo didn't finish him and his guild, Jinwoo's response was pure ice. "You didn't piss me off that much." That's the kind of energy that makes you the main character. But it gets crazier. Jinwoo controls a pocket universe and commands a shadow army of 9 million soldiers. He once fought for 27 years straight, without getting tired. And when it comes to monarchs, he doesn't just fight them, he bodies them solo. His attack power is estimated at planet level, or higher, and he's still leveling up as the story progresses. What makes Jinwoo so special? The system, a mysterious power that chose him to keep growing stronger while everyone else plateaus. Why him? That's a question even the manhwa doesn't fully answer yet for anime-only fans, but it's part of what makes him so compelling. His fights are pure spectacle, whether he's summoning shadows, throwing planet-shattering punches, or staring down gods like it's just another day at the office. Jinwoo's not just the strongest hunter, he's the heart of solo leveling, the guy who makes you believe one person can change the world. There you have it, fam. The 5 strongest hunters in solo leveling, from the mysterious Siddharth Bachchan to the god-tier Jinwoo Sung. These national-level hunters are the best of the best, each a powerhouse in their own right. But let's be real, Jinwoo's in a league of his own, and that's why we love this story. Want more solo leveling content, like a ranking of all 31S rank hunters? Drop it in the comments, because that's a full-day project. And I'm down if you are. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to keep the anime hype alive. Who's your favorite hunter? Let me know below, and let's keep the solo leveling fire burning. Peace out.